Hello, National Office family. Merry Christmas. I'm Jeremy Stein from the Center for Holy Land Studies, and I am this week's We Go First. I know this is coming a little bit late. Thanks to the holidays, it's been incredibly busy. But today we're going to be looking at 1 Samuel 15, the whole chapter, encompassing God's rejection of Saul as his choice of king of Israel. When we look at the book of 1 Samuel really acts as an apologetic for the Davidic monarchy and who they are as a dynasty and why Israel should be following them, simply because you look at Saul's reign as king, and it's an utter train wreck again and again, right from almost the very beginning, but really up until the end of his life, when he is going across enemy lines to seek out a diviner on the very last night of his life. And this is kind of the real downturn and demise or beginning of the demise of the snowball effect that's going down the mountain, where in 1 Samuel 15, Saul is tasked with wiping out the Amalekites. The Amalekites, we know them from Exodus 17. They come against Moses and the Israelites and wage war against them and lose. The Israelites are delivered in a miraculous way by a supernatural use of Moses and his leadership. And here God has not forgotten. He never forgets the actions that they took against his children. And so he tasks Saul with wiping them out entirely, wiping every man, every cattle, everything out. And Saul goes out and he wages battle against them in a fantastic military way. It says he lays ambushes for them. He's ready. He's prepared. And when he sees victory, he doesn't end up wiping them all out. The text tells us that he leaves some of the best alive. He leaves their king alive. And this is going to create problems for a number of reasons. First of all, when we look at the rest of the Bible, the Amalekites seem to rear their heads at the worst possible times, especially for Saul. If we look at 1 Samuel 30, the Amalekites are actually now in league with the Philistines in dividing up Saul's kingdom. And this is right before Saul is essentially, his kingdom is done. His sons are no longer have any rights to the throne, and David is the one who has to go down to Ziklag and finish them off. And also it's an Amalekite who brings the remnants of Saul to David and says, "Look what I've done," lying to him, saying that he's killed them. But more importantly, we eventually see the Amalekites showing up, a descendant of the Amalekites, someone who is an Agagite, the descendant of King Agag, who is here mentioned in 1 Samuel 15 as Haman, the real antagonist against Israel in the Esther story. And so Saul's inability to carry out God's will here creates a lot of problems, but more so than anything, we find the heart of it coming in verses 22 and 23, and it's something that's really key to understanding even modern day Judaism inside the world that we live in. And it reads like this. But Samuel replied, "Does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifice as much as in obeying the Lord? To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. For rebellion is like the sin of divination, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord has rejected you as king." Now this pertains mainly to Saul, because Saul has kept the best of the best, saying he was going to sacrifice to the Lord, and God stands back and says, "I don't want your sacrifice, I want your obedience." But today, in today's modern world, one of the things with the Center for Holy Land Studies that we get to see is when people come to the land of Israel, there's a lot of questions that they want to ask the everyday Jew, and one of them is, well, what do you do that the temple is not there if you can't offer sacrifices? And I have one friend of mine, his name is Moshe. He runs a biblical shop in Jerusalem, and he speaks to our groups every single time I bring a group. And this question has been posed to him multiple times, and he simply says, "Why would I be looking for a temple or looking for sacrifices when in every single day I'm to look to be obedient above all else? That's my task. I'm going to let God do whatever he's going to do, and if he's going to choose to build another temple, if he's going to choose to reinstate sacrifices, that's on him. But for me, in my day-to-day life, I'm just called to simply be obedient. And it's something that I think can be carried out to all of us without a shadow of a doubt, is that, you know, we have these big dreams sometimes, we have these big visions that we want to carry out, that we want to do for maybe our lives or our ministries. But the end of the day, the thing that God requires isn't so much always the dream, it isn't always so much the great vision, it's simply the obedience. It's saying, all right, God, you've told me to do this, you've given me this task, and I'm going to do that. And if you're going to do something amazing as you've promised, then you do it. But as for me in this moment, I'm simply going to obey and I'm going to listen to your word, and that's that. I'm going to let you be you, and I'm going to be obedient to you because you're God. And so if I take anything away from this, it's simply that. It's to obey God no matter what my dreams or my thoughts or my perception of a situation might be, because he's God and I'm not. I hope you all have a fantastic break. Enjoy your time off with your family and your loved ones, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye-bye.